What unfolded on national television stunned everyone watching the basketball world. Less than 3 weeks after driving a closed fist into Caitlin Clark's throat and calling it a complete accident, Alyssa Thomas threw her elbow directly into Lexie Hull's nose during the third quarter of the July 9th Fever Mercury game. The video posted by verified journalist Kyle Ingram of Snapshot Kyle shows Hull sitting on the bench with a towel pressed against her face. It racked up 72,500 views within hours, yet there wasn't a single call on the floor. Same player, same game, the same troubling pattern, just a different Fever teammate. And the WNBA, the league that spent the past 2 weeks telling the world it cares about player safety, watched it happen once again and still did nothing in real time.
What I would love Caitlin to do is get up one time and then just slap the out of.
From the opening tip on July 9th, 2026, the Indiana Fever faced an uphill battle. They took the floor without Caitlin Clark, who was resting on the second night of a back-to-back, without Sophie Cunningham, who was listed as questionable with back spasms, and without the energy Clark brings into every arena she steps inside. They were running on fumes after a 106-92 loss to the Los Angeles Sparks the night before, yet they still came out on fire. The Fever opened with a 9-0 run fueled by three-pointers from Kelsey Mitchell, Ty Harris, and Lexie Hull. The same Lexie Hull who would later be sitting on the bench with a towel pressed against her bloody nose after helping Indiana build an early 12-5 first-quarter lead.
What do you think about the whole situation? Caitlin Clark getting punched in the throat, the suspension, media backlash?
It's got to stop. It is deliberate, it's intentional. She's wearing a target on her back. She's not gay, she's not black.
So you'd say 100% there is a racial element behind this and there's a sexuality aspect to this because she's white, straight, and from rural America.
She's the golden goose of the WNBA and people are jealous.
Early on, Kelsey Mitchell was everywhere. Lexie Hull was knocking down shots and Aaliyah Boston controlled the paint on both ends. For one quarter, without Caitlin Clark on the road, the Indiana Fever looked like a championship-caliber team. Then the second quarter changed everything. Kahleah Copper caught fire, scoring 10 of her 12 points in the period. Phoenix knocked down 8 of its 14 three-point attempts in the first half alone. The Mercury outscored Indiana 29-19 in the second quarter and headed into halftime with a 6-point lead. 3 Mercury players had already reached double figures by the break, and Indiana's 12-point first-quarter advantage had completely disappeared.
What the hell's going on here, Nancy?
Caitlin gets the crap beat out of her. There's jealousy, there's envy, because to me, she's in the top 3 or 4 players in this league, and she changed the game. Candace Parker changed the game. Nancy Lieberman changed the game. Taurasi changed the game. She is the economic engine.
Everything shifted in the third quarter, and that's when the elbow reignited outrage across the sports world. With 6:58 remaining, Alyssa Thomas made a layup to push Phoenix's lead into double digits, giving the Mercury a 55-49 advantage over the Fever. Stephanie White immediately called a timeout. During that same stretch, cameras captured what Thomas had done to Lexie Hull, an elbow straight to the nose. Hull returned to the bench holding a towel against her face. The image was unmistakable, and the video spoke for itself without any interpretation needed. Verified journalist Kyle Ingram posted it right away. Alyssa Thomas elbows Lexie Hull in the nose. No whistle, no flagrant review, absolutely nothing.
At the end of the day, it's basketball. Basketball is meant to be physical. Like I said, I didn't even know that play happened. If you watch the clip back, no one in the stands, their bench knew that it happened.
This involved the very same Alyssa Thomas, who drove a fist into Caitlin Clark's throat on June 24th. The same Alyssa Thomas, who received a flagrant 2 foul and a 1-game suspension. The same Alyssa Thomas who insisted the play involving Clark was a complete accident and said neither she nor her teammates even realized it had happened. The same Alyssa Thomas who is now playing through a left foot injury she suffered just days earlier, yet is still throwing elbows into the faces of Indiana Fever players without any consequence in real time.
They're just brutal. And then I don't think it helps being a 5'8" white girl coming into the league with 85% black women that want to take your head off. like just straight up, right? Like that's just what it is.
The reaction from Caitlin Clark's fans was immediate and intense. Many pointed back to the earlier incident, saying she choked Clark and called it an accident. Now she elbowed Hull in the nose. How many accidents is one player allowed to have? One fan posted, the WNBA gave her a 1-game suspension and a $1,000 fine, and this is what they got. Same player, same team, different victim, no call. Another wrote, at what point does the league acknowledge that this is a pattern instead of a series of coincidences? A third fan added,
Now we're being painted as thugs and there's death threats out on us, so it's really unacceptable. It's something that needs to change in this league, and I'm just really so excited.
What made this story even bigger than the elbow itself was everything that happened afterward. Despite playing on the second night of a back-to-back, despite Lexie Hull heading to the bench with a nose injury, and despite trailing by 10 points in the third quarter, the Indiana Fever fought their way back. They put together a 13-0 run sparked by Mercury turnovers and Aaliyah Boston, knocking down a transition 3 to take a 62-59 lead with 3:58 remaining in the third. By the end of the quarter, the Fever held a 69-68 advantage, carrying a 1-point lead into the fourth without Caitlin Clark after trailing by 10. On the road against a team that had every home court advantage and every reason to win the season series.
Honestly, because of my back spasm the other day, I actually feel pretty good because I didn't really play much, and so that's part of being a pro though, is you never know what your body or games are going to throw at you, so you just have to be prepared. I think our team, that's a pretty bad loss in LA, and so we're very motivated and kind of need to get the train rolling in the right direction.
Are those back spasms something you frequently have, or is it something that just popped up yesterday?
No, I think I'm kind of like getting old. I got off the ground from stretching and it just like kind of locked up on me. And so, hey girl. And so I'm fine. It's just part of it. I think I'm a little dehydrated. Had some kind of stomach issues. So it's kind of hard to keep fluids down. I think that's kind of where it stemmed from, but much better.
Your fans here love you. How much fun?
By the end of the third quarter, Kelsey Mitchell had piled up 24 points and 6 assists, while Aaliyah Boston added 17 points and 7 rebounds. Lexie Hull, the same Lexie Hull who had just taken an elbow to the nose, had scored 10 points. For Phoenix, Alyssa Thomas finished the quarter with 18 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists. The game had turned into a battle, and the Fever were winning it even as one of their players sat on the bench holding a towel to her face. That 13-0 run became the most important stretch of the entire game. Phoenix had seized momentum, pushed its lead into double digits, and had every reason to believe the exhausted, back-to-back Fever were about to fold. Even with Caitlin Clark in street clothes signing autographs for fans in the tunnel before tip-off instead of playing, Indiana still carried a 1-point lead into the fourth quarter in Phoenix. While Clark was greeting fans, her teammates kept battling on the floor. For Clark's supporters, who had spent the previous 2 weeks demanding accountability, the controversy flared up all over again on July 9th. Within minutes of Kyle Ingram posting the clip, the video of the Hull elbow spread across every major platform, and the reaction was immediate and overwhelming. Many pointed out that Alyssa Thomas had now been involved in physical incidents with 2 Indiana Fever players in just 3 weeks, Clark's throat on June 24th and Hull's nose on July 9th. One fan wrote, "How many players does she have to injure before the WNBA does something that actually matters?" One fan summed it up this way: she got a 1-game suspension, a $1,000 fine, and then came back 15 days later and elbowed someone in the nose. The punishment wasn't a deterrent. It was an invitation. Another posted, "Thomas is playing on a bad foot and still finding ways to elbow people in the face. This isn't physicality. This is a behavioral problem that the league refuses to treat like one." A third fan added an observation that resonated with many. Clark is sitting in the tunnel signing autographs for fans while Thomas is on the court elbowing her teammates. Clark is the most professional person connected to this entire situation, and the league keeps letting the people around her get hurt. To those fans, the pattern had become increasingly difficult to dismiss as a single isolated incident. On June 24th, Thomas drove a fist into Caitlin Clark's throat. The WNBA reviewed the play, upgraded it to a flagrant 2, handed out a 1-game suspension and a $1,000 fine, and ruled it a non-basketball act. Thomas served the suspension, called the play a complete accident, and the league moved forward. Then came July 8th, when Alyssa Thomas picked up her 4th technical foul of the season during a loss to the Chicago Sky. She also appeared to injure her ankle after it buckled on a non-contact play. The very next day, July 9th, with Caitlin Clark watching from the sideline in street clothes, Thomas threw an elbow into Lexie Hull's nose during the 3rd quarter. There was no whistle, no flagrant review, and Hull ended up on the bench holding a towel to her face. 3 incidents in 3 weeks, 2 different Indiana Fever players involved, 4 technical fouls on the season, 1 step away from a mandatory warning letter from the league, and a flagrant point total continuing to climb toward automatic suspension territory. Stephen A. Smith said it 2 weeks earlier, the WNBA needs to police the league the way the NBA does, with retroactive reviews and meaningful consequences. Lisa Leslie said the players, the officials, and the league all have to do better, and that warning only became louder after Sophie Cunningham said Indiana was being targeted. Then Lexie Hull ended up on the bench in Phoenix, with a towel pressed against her face, and for a lot of fans that image said everything. It did not look like just another hard foul or another physical possession. It looked like the latest example of a problem the league keeps failing to handle with any real consistency. Now the WNBA has a decision to make. It can review the elbow on Hull, issue another retroactive flagrant, hand out another fine, and release another statement saying player safety is its top priority. Or it can step back and look at the full sequence of events involving Alyssa Thomas and Indiana Fever players during July 2026, the fist to Caitlin Clark's throat, the 4th technical foul, the ankle injury, and now the elbow to Lexie Hull's nose, and admit that responding to each incident separately is not solving the bigger issue. Fans are not just reacting to one play, they're reacting to what they see as a repeated lack of accountability and a league that keeps waiting until after the damage is done. Lexie Hull sat on the bench in Phoenix on July 9th with a towel covering her nose. Caitlin Clark signed autographs in the tunnel wearing street clothes as she continued recovering from the back injury she suffered 15 days earlier. Meanwhile, Alyssa Thomas finished with 18 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists while playing through a foot injury and still making contact with Fever players in a way that many viewers felt crossed the line. Whether the league calls it physical defense or not, the frustration now is about consistency, enforcement, and whether player safety means anything when the same team keeps ending up on the wrong side of these collisions. How many Indiana Fever players does Alyssa Thomas have to injure before the WNBA finally does something that actually stops it? Drop your thoughts in the comments.